Greetings, and welcome to A Year of Movies, a Planet Geek production. For this project, we are using the Ivan Walters reference book of 365 films to watch on the day they happened. Each day, we watch a movie associated with the date we are watching it on. And today, being January 1st, we're dealing with Rocky from 1976, directed by John Avildsen and starring Sylvester Stallone. So my my personal interaction with this movie is I have seen this movie before. That's not going to be part of the series. I will watch the movies that are on this list as I go through them, but I have seen this movie before, so it was a little easier to consume as it wasn't a first time viewing. So again, the movie stars Sylvester Stallone, Talia Shire, Burt Young, Burgess Meredith, and Carl Weathers. The movie went in to win the Academy Award for both Best Picture, Best Director, and I believe it was Best Editing. And I believe Sylvester Stallone was up for Best Supporting Actor, as well as Talia was up for Best Actress, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, as I checked my notes, it also, both Burgess Meredith and Burt Young were both up for Best Supporting Actor, as well as Sylvester Stallone was nominated for Best Original Screenplay. So when one thinks about the underdog story, this is classically what Rocky is. It brought it to the forefront of movie making and all that sort of thing. And of course, we've had this sort of storyline in previous times, but it's brought forward in this fantastically shot and acted movie from, like I said, 1976. It is a very fresh look at, first of all, this young actor, Sylvester Stallone, that from this perspective we know goes on to do other things and great things, and the all-around encompassing cast. This is the beginning of and also, I don't believe at the time they were expecting it to be, but it is definitely a beginning of this whole entire series of Rocky movies that have gone way past what I'm pretty sure anyone from the beginning of this would have thought that these movies could have gotten to. Of course, they've evolved over time and all that sort of thing, but pretty much told the same story time and time again. The underdog story, the guy coming up from the trenches and building himself up and all. It's this underdog story with an underlying love story, and a very well perceived movie for history and all that sort of thing. So there you go. It was about 30 minutes into the movie before the actual date shows up of January 1st. So there we go. We got our first movie of the year tucked away. Now, as I look into the quick future, January 2nd has The Thin Red Line, directed by Terrence Malick, starring Sean Penn. So until tomorrow, go watch a movie. And today, being January 2nd, means I'm going to be watching The Thin Red Line from 1998, directed by Terrence Malick and starring Sean Penn. So just finished watching Thin Red Line. To be honest, I had seen this movie again before, like Rocky yesterday. I had seen this movie before, but this one I probably have only seen like once, maybe way back in the days of probably early DVD is when I first saw it. Or I might have seen it on one of the movie channels at the time. I'm not 100% sure, but I do remember having seen this movie before. So it was, once I got into the movie, it was like, oh yes, now I remember what happens. The movie itself is a 2 hours and 50 minutes long, and it's actually not until about an hour and 29 minutes into the movie where we actually have the date of January 2nd being brought up. Now, this is a war picture that takes place during World War II. The depiction of combat in this movie is pretty cool to witness. It's very expertly directed, and the cast is quite remarkable as well. Not only do we have Sean Penn, we also have Adrian Brody, Jim Caviezel, Ben Chaplin, John Cusack, Elias Cotees, and Nick Nolte. Again, Like I previously mentioned, I had seen this movie before, but when the different actors pop on the screen, I'm like, oh right, he's in this movie as well, which is always a fun thing to see when revisiting a movie that you haven't seen for like quite a while, and we are looking at quite a while. The movie did go on to get quite a few nominations for the movie, as well as Best Director and Best Picture. Unfortunately, not winning anything for this movie. All right, so as it comes up to tomorrow's episode, January 3rd, is going to be an actual movie that I have yet to actually see. It is the 1993 Shadowlands, directed by Richard Attenborough. So until next time, go watch a movie. And as it is January 3rd, we were watching Shadowlands from 1993, directed by Richard Attenborough and starring Anthony Hopkins. So to begin with, my history of this movie is fresh right now. This is the first time that I have actually seen this movie, and to be completely honest, I'm not 100% sure if I actually knew about this movie to begin with. I mean, I am well aware of Anthony Hopkins' career, Deborah Winger as well, even Richard Attenborough's directing nods, but for some strange reason, this one seems to have escaped me. And as I had mentioned, not only, of course, starring Anthony Hopkins, but also stars Edward Harwick, previously mentioned Deborah Winger, Joseph Mazzello, James Frann, Julian Fellows, and Michael Dennison. So C.S. Lewis, who is portrayed by Anthony Hopkins, is currently beyond writing his novels and all that, and he is currently lecturing at Oxford University. He ends up, through letter writing and all that, ends up meeting the American writer Joy Grissom, who is portrayed by Deborah Winger. What begins as an innocent sort of meeting and all that evolves into C.S. Lewis inviting Joy and her young son with her to his and his brother's place for Christmas season, as that is when this movie is set around. It is shortly after that, on the date of January 3rd, which is about 45 minutes into the movie, that the date is announced, where Jack, who C.S. Lewis goes by, reflects to his brother that he misses the company of Joy and her son. The story continues on. They end up getting to a relationship that swells into, first of all, a marriage of convenience, and then after a medical scare, turns into an actual full-blown relationship marriage, and that's where we have our whole entire love story between these two. One of the really cool things about this movie is that because it's all British actors except for our two American characters, I find it so amazingly hilarious the instant that Deborah Winger comes onto the screen and speaks, because up until this point everyone is speaking with a British accent, and her added little extra onto an American accent breaking into this is just so beautiful and all that. The role of Douglas Grisham, who is Joy's son, played by Joseph Mazzello, who is the young kid from the first Jurassic Park movie. So it's kind of neat to, like, oh my god, there's another role that I've never seen him in before, and who does a fantastic job in this as well. Working, again, when you have Anthony Hopkins and Deborah Winger as your main characters, and you have to basically act like a child, he does a fantastic job bringing such emotion to this young kid who obviously at certain points is scared about the situation with his mother, his living arrangements, and whatnot. Surprisingly, like I said, to begin with, I had no idea what this movie was to begin with. I was surprised to see that it was a C.S. Lewis storyline, and there was Richard Attenborough, who like beautifully shoots this movie. A lot of really well use of scenery and setting. We are in actual physical places. Richard Attenborough gets the camera into fantastic angles and all that sort of thing for certain things. So the movie itself ended up getting 2 Academy Award nominations. Deborah Winger for Best Actress, and also for Best Adapted Screenplay, although did not win either of those. I was also really cool to find out that this is actually based upon two previous versions of this story. Originally a stage production, and then a television production made for British television back in '85. So I just also want to add that I want to reach out to the person who did what they did about this movie. At this current time in Canada, this isn't streaming anywhere. I don't personally own a copy of it, so it was really nice that I was able to discover that someone had uploaded the whole entire movie to YouTube. So there's another resource to search for the movies that could be on this list in the future. So whoever that person is, thank you very much. It really helped out with this. All right, on that note, we're going to be switching up the feels for our next movie, as it is going to be 1992's My Cousin Vinny. So until next time, go watch a movie. And as it is January 4th, we'll be watching My Cousin Vinny from 1992, directed by Jonathan Lynn and starring Joe Pesci. So my experience with this movie is like pretty much a lot of people of my age. We did see this movie when it was out. I don't believe I saw it in theaters, but I do believe I saw it on like early purchase of DVD. Actually, I was able to dig out my own copy of this movie on DVD and be able to watch it, pop it into the old machine there. So as previously mentioned, this movie is starring Joe Pesci, Marissa Tomei, Ralph Macchio, Michael Whitfield, Fred Gwynne, Lane Smith, and Bruce McGill. So the story begins with two college friends that get arrested in Alabama for murder. One of them, Ralph Macchio's character, asks for help from his mother, who subsequently sends his cousin Vinny, Joe Pesci, down to help bail him out of the situation. In tow, he brings along, Joe Pesci that is, brings along his longtime girlfriend, Marissa Tomei, and basically a whole entire fish out of water sort of situation happens between the New Yorkers and the Alabama Southerners clashing and all that sort of thing. A lot of great performances by a bunch of fantastic character actors. The best parts of this movie are when we're dealing with Joe Pesci and Fred Gwynne coming together and all that sort of. Fred Gwynne, a fantastic actor in my personal opinion. The original television The Munsters, he played Herman Munster, and so yeah, it's just a great, well written, fantastically shot. Again, a lot of wordplay goes into this movie. There's a lot of droning on, which Joe Pesci does expertly and all that. Marissa Tomei meets the challenge of this role, and it's a fantastic movie to watch. It actually isn't about until an hour and 13 minutes into this 2-hour movie that the during the court case that the date is announced when the incident happened. So the beginning of the movie is actually January 4th. Marissa Tomei infamously won the Best Supporting Actress for this role for the movie. So, like some of these movies are going to be, there's just a quick little thing to talk about the movie. Really enjoyed the movie. It was a great movie. Do yourself a favor, go see the movie. But that leads us to what is on tomorrow's docket. And tomorrow we'll be watching 1960's The Time Machine. So until next time, go watch a movie. So this being January 5th, we are going to be watching The Time Machine from 1960, directed by George Pell and starring Rod Taylor. So to begin with, my history with this movie is I have seen this movie actually several times in life. Actually, to do yourself a favor, check out the art of the poster. You know, back in the days when they did a huge artistic deal with all of their movie posters. But to begin with, H.G. Wells' The Time Machine was probably one of the first science fiction books that I can remember me seeking out on my own to read when I was much younger. I did see this movie probably first. Probably saw it on like a Saturday afternoon movie and was like fascinated with the stop motion and the sped up footage and whatnot that's all used, and then the experimentation of using the different characters and creatures from the far future that our time traveler travels to and then comes back and whatnot. But yeah, so this is a fabulous Technicolor sort of version of that story. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, the movie stars as the time traveler himself, Rod Taylor, as well as Alan Young, Yvette Minu, Sebastian Cabot, Tom Helmore, Whit Bizzle, and Doris Lloyd. So again, if you know the story of the time machine, you know what it is. An inventor creates this machine that allows them to travel forward and back through time. And we are, as the audience, go along and witness this gentleman trying to prove the fact that his time machine actually works to his doubting friends. It's fantastically acted. The sets and special effects are just phenomenal, especially for the 1960s. The fantastic use of, like I said earlier, the sped up motion of time basically passing around the bubble sphere of the time machine that he finds himself seated in, going to the far-flung future, meeting up with the future descendants of what happens to humanity and whatever creatures evolve from those that live above the ground and under the ground. But it's fantastically played out in a very loyal, for the time, to the original story. It's a great ride. It's probably not the most scientific feeling sci-fi movie, but it is very entertaining nonetheless. Oh, and as I almost forgot to point out, it's actually almost an hour and 35 minutes into an hour and 43-minute movie before they tell you the day that it actually is. So you find out almost near the end of the movie that it is actually the 5th of January. But then it's a whole entire timey-wimey sort of thing, because what you hear at the end of the movie, the time, is actually something that goes at the beginning, because the whole entire movie is him recalling the time that he had time traveled. And just, anyways, watch it. It's entertaining. It's fun. And when it comes to, like I said, the special effects, the Academy Awards agreed with that, and they awarded this Best Special Effects. Okay, that being said, heading in tomorrow is going to be a bit of a tight one, because the movie for January 6th is Dr. Zhivago. Now, I have seen the movie before, studied it in high school for a film class, so this will be me revisiting. So I probably will be able to just skim over most of the 3+ hour movie, but we're still gonna watch it, but that's tomorrow. So until next time, go watch a movie. And seeing that it is January 6th, we will be watching Dr. Zhivago from 1965, directed by David Lean and starring Omar Sharif. Now, here's a little bit of behind the scenes. I have just recently gotten home from work this evening, and it is just after 6 o'clock right now, so I am sitting down right now to watch this movie, and I will come back after to shoot the rest of this video later on. So 3 hours and 17 minutes later, roughly, to give you a little bit of background of my personal interaction with this movie, is I have seen this movie before. I saw it during a film studies course in high school, where we sat down for like 2 periods and watched the actual movie play out, as a 3-hour movie does not fit into an 80-minute class schedule. So while I have seen this before, I haven't actually had the opportunity to see the movie on a big screen. I've only just seen it on television screens, and I believe my first viewing of it was actually like a full screen version. More of a pan and scan, I think it was, but it was way back in the day when letterbox or widescreen was not a widely known thing. I did acquire this movie on DVD quite early in my time of collecting physical media. So I have since then seen it in its full widescreen version, but it is a bit of a movie just to it's not a casual movie. If you are locked into seeing this movie, you're there for a good time. And like I had just finished it up from work and all that. So again, we are dealing with a fantastic movie. So to begin with, like I mentioned, it stars Omar Sharif, and it also stars Julie Christie, Geraldine Kaplan, Alec Guinness, Rod Steiger, Tom Courtenay, and Saubhan, I think it's McKenna. Saubhan? I think I have that pronounced right, I think. Again, we're dealing with like an epically gorgeous looking movie. There's no way no way that you can't say this is a spectacular movie just to watch. Epic vista shots of gorgeous gorgeous colors. It's very well known for its sweeping cinematography, which is, I mean, above all. When I mean, again, this is a movie that definitely needs to be shown on a large screen, and unfortunately, like I mentioned, I have not had the privilege to do that. But again, being able to muster up a 3 hour and 17-minute running time to watch this in the theater is quite a bit of an undertaking. Maurice Jarre provides a most iconic soundtrack to this movie as the backing of it. A couple of cool things about the movie is the original novel that it was that this movie is based on was actually banned in Russia at the time. And because of them not being able to film in Russia, a very huge portion of the movie was all shot in Spain. When it comes to having to learn about movies and the lore and just learn how stuff is put together when it comes to movies, this is definitely one of the core movies that you do have to watch. It is just a tour de force of teaching skills just from watching the movie along. And again, fantastically acted by like top-notch actors of all across. I will admit that I believe that I saw Top Secret before I saw Dr. Zhivago, so my original introduction to Omar Sharif was in a comedy. And of course, it goes without saying, Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi, definitely before watching Dr. Zhivago. But again, a whole entire cast of very recognizable actors from like the heyday of the Hollywood acting. So fantastic watch. Again, you definitely have to, it's definitely not a second screen viewing. That is one fascinating thing about this. You are hypnotized to watch every single frame of this movie because every single frame is worth full attention. So it is revealed that it's January 6th, about an hour and 23 minutes into the film. So about the halfway mark, which is kind of weird to say. Now, when it comes to Academy Awards, I'm going to refer to my notes because I want to make sure I get this all right. It did win 2 awards, which was for Best Art Direction and Best Cinematography. But it was also nominated for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor for Tom Courtenay, Best Director, Best Film Editing, and Best Sound. So, again, a lot of praise for this movie from 1965. All right, so that being said, we are going to wrap this up and which leads us into what we're going to be watching for tomorrow, which is the 7th of January. And we're going to be watching Zorba the Greek from 1964. Seems to be circling around that decade for a little while and all that sort of thing. So, again, that's what we're doing tomorrow for this production. And until then, go watch a movie. And as it is January 7th, today we will be watching Zorba the Greek from 1964. directed by Michael Koikanis, and starring Anthony Quinn. So to begin with, my experience with this movie is when I put this movie on to start watching it about a couple of hours ago, I completely didn't realize it was a black and white movie to begin with. So as I'm watching the movie play out, I'm all like, wait, I don't think I've seen Zorba the Greek before. And as the movie plays out, it doesn't seem familiar. So I have no idea what Anthony Quinn movie I was thinking about that I had seen. But this is a first viewing for me as well. So that's 2 on the list so far that are brand new to me. So besides Anthony Quinn, this movie stars Ellen Bates, Irene Pappas, Lila Kendrova, and I hate to say it, quite a few other actors who I would embarrass myself if I were to try and pronounce any of their names. But again, it's a fully stacked cast. So like I said, not realizing what this is quite, it leads itself to be quite comedic at points, but it's definitely a serious undertones to this movie. The relationship between Anthony Bates' character of Basil and Anthony Quinn as obviously Zorba himself. How they meet right pretty much the beginning of the movie as it carries on, and the visit to Crete that that Basil goes on. Alan is Bates is the name and Basil is the character, sorry. But yeah, so there's a lot of great character work in this movie, relationship work between several different members of the cast and how they intertwine with each other. This half Greek, half Englishman who is Alan Bates' character, and how he deals with Anthony Quinn and their lives, how they come crashing together in this great movie. Again, fantastically shot. It's got a great soundtrack, and it's shot all on location, which is fantastic to see. Again, it's kind of neat seeing a movie for the first time, because you then realize, like I said, not even 5 minutes into the movie, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to start really paying attention to this. So again, it's a great dramatic movie, got some great comedic moments to it and all that sort of thing. Just like fantastic acting. Again, Alan Bates, great actor, and of course the great Anthony Quinn. You can't go wrong with that. And his character from the moment is just so like Anthony Quinn. When you think of Anthony Quinn, this is the character which he is fantastic at. So it's almost it's just over an hour and 4 minutes into the movie of 2 hours and 22 minutes, where they actually announce the date as being January 7th. So in looking up the Academy Awards, I discovered something that I didn't realize was an actual thing, but makes sense at the time, because when this movie was done, that this won the Academy Award for Best Direction in Black and White. Of course, this is at an era when there's both black and white movies and color movies coming out at the time. So it also won for Best Cinematography and Best Supporting Actress for Lila Kendrova. They also got nominations for, and obviously did not win, for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Anthony Quinn, and Best Adapted Screenplay. Okay, so that's going to wrap up our little talk about Zorba the Greek, and that's going to lead us into tomorrow's episode. So tomorrow, being January 8th, we are going to be talking about Blade Runner from 1982. So until next time, watch a movie. This has been A Year of Movies, a Planet Geek production. Please be sure to subscribe, download, comment, share, rate, and review. Once again, another thanks to Ivan Walters for his book, A Year of Movies, 365 films to watch on the day they happened. Look for it online or at your local bookstore. Follow Planet Geek Productions on all of our social media. Through Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Tumblr, and Letterboxd, search for Planet Geek Productions. On X, former Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, search for Planet Geek Pod. You can also reach out to us through email at planetgeekpod@gmail.com. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and until next time,
go see a movie.